I'm feeling good.
Why does delineation bother so many Africans and the rest of the diaspora? Here we go with this.
Foundational people are crazy. Let's just start there. It is an act of desperation to call yourself anything other than what you are. Why are you always looking to be called something else? We are a rich culture. We are a beautiful culture. And when you have a high cultural self-esteem, then you go anywhere in the world, and it is not reductive to be in proximity to anyone else. I never feel small in Nigeria. When I leave Nigeria, I even feel more full. You know what I'm saying? Because I can see so many similarities. I can embrace the Nigerian national culture, but also all the ethnicities within it for its each individual beauty. It makes me feel fuller. Yeah. Do you understand? Yeah. And when you have that high, just like cultural self-esteem, right? It just makes it so much easier. So I don't subscribe to this whole foundational Black American, the Hotep, the Sulan, the flag, all this. What's wrong with being African American? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to take the African out of it because you're anti-African, because you're xenophobic.
This Nigerian lady is sitting up on that podcast just saying anything. So now we're crazy and an act of desperation because we don't want to call ourselves African American anymore? Like, make that make sense. And who is we? Didn't she just say she's Nigerian? So how are Black Americans Nigerian, lady? Why are you saying we're the same people and you know darn well we're not? Did y'all hear her insinuating that we don't have high self-esteem by saying her culture has high self-esteem? So Nigerians have such high self-esteem that they flee their homeland to come over here to America to assimilate into our Black American rich culture? You know the culture y'all say we don't have. Constantly cosplaying us, talking greasy about us every chance that they get. Make that make sense. She kept saying high cultural self-esteem, but she's sitting there not rocking her African cultural garments though. Sigh. And everything is wrong with being African American, lady. We do not want to be called an African American because we're not from Africa nor African. Why is that so hard for you to understand and accept? No one is more anti-African than self-hating, self-loathing, bleaching, and scamming Nigerians, who get kicked out of every country you all go to. Remember, y'all are banned. Shaking my head. Anti-African is who Nigerians are. Nobody loves their country more than a people who are never in their own country. Y'all are very upset and angry because we're delineating from you all and no longer saying we're African American, and that's really bothering y'all. Y'all can't sit up under the banner of being us, Black, but without the actual Black American struggles, but want to continue to receive the benefits as well. Can y'all Africans please stop projecting onto us about being xenophobic for the 50,000th time? Just let us be and leave us alone. We know y'all can't and have an unhealthy obsession with us.
The delineation movement is causing a lot of discomfort in many circles around the world. Not only in America, but on the continent of Africa and in a lot of power centers around the world. You know, the delineators are really creating a lot of confusion, and the effects, the negative effects on, you know, those who are trying to expand their business or their trades or their, you know, worldview to different parts of the world have hit a roadblock, because the delineators have really caused people around the world to take a pause at the invitations and the expansions of, entry into certain parts of the world by the African American people. Now, we have to make it clear that the African Americans are different from the FBAs. And let me tell you the difference. The FBAs are people who claim that they are from here originally. They have nothing to do with Africa. They are not people who have any connection to Africa. So they want nothing to do with Africa. They go, a step further by insulting Africans and demeaning Africans and, describing Africans in National Geographic terms.
It's just the lies for me.
Very, very negative ways. I'm an African. You won't see me on National Geographic. But the way they describe the Africans, it's very negative. They just are worse than the colonizer and how the colonizer described Africa.
I know you lying.
And then you have the African Americans are those who consider themselves to be descendants of Africa, descendants of the slave trade, descendants of people who can trace their roots from the motherland. And they are more sympathetic to the Pan-African, struggle for black people, the power to the people kind of movements, the group of people who feel like all black people need to come together and work together. And they are the ones who, have been traveling to Africa, making connections with Africa and other parts of, the diaspora. But because of the FBA, a lot of African countries are taking a second look. They're like, okay, what are we dealing with here? What are we dealing with here? Because you don't want an FBA in your country. Because if somebody can look down on Africa and Africans, you don't want them in your country. These people could come to the country and be spies for the colonizer. They could come to your country and cause more damage to your country in terms of safety and security because they don't consider themselves as Africans. So this is causing African governments to think twice about who these people are. Because if you listen to the FBA, the things that they say is worse than the colonizer. And they could be a security risk to the safety and security of African countries. So the FBAs are causing more damage than they realize. So just keep watching and listening because they're exposing who they are and it's causing a lot more trouble and problems than you think. This is not just an internet phenomenon. This has become an international, worldwide issue, problem that they are causing. And I don't know what they're gaining from it, running their mouth all over the internets. Now it is getting into, real life, and people are taking a second look at who exactly are these people. So stay tuned.
All my people across the diaspora, these FBA dudes, like I told you yesterday, this stuff is just division contest that they're more than likely being paid by you know who to push. Just let's stop engaging them. Let them do their own thing. In fact, let them talk to each other. Okay, there's no convincing them. Don't try to convince them that they are this or they are that. Let them be who they want to be. Okay, support their delineation. They can be over there and we'll be over here doing what we do.
I'm gonna say this, because it's one thing that irritates me. I'm gonna be real with you. With Black Americans, and this is coming from somebody that was born in America. I was born in Houston, Texas. My ancestry, went through slavery and all this other stuff, transatlantic and trans-Saharan. I'm gonna tell you, when black people be talking about Africans don't like us. No, they don't like them N-words. And guess what? I don't either. Because at the end of the day, what you got to understand is, don't forget in school how you talked about them people. How you talked about your brothers and sisters and picked on your brothers and sisters. Remember that. Remember how you picked on your Haitian brothers and sisters, your Jamaican brothers and sisters. Don't act like you forget. I can tell you the truth. And my kid, I put this on everything. Like the other day, some kids was by my house was picking on some kids about that. And I went out there and checked all of them little kids. And was ready to whoop the parents too. Because I'm going to tell y'all straight up. Any of y'all, any black person around the globe, if you sit there and try to delineate, you're a traitor. You commit treason. And you really forfeit. Because it's a time coming where, I'm not going to lie, your time is limited. Yeah. And we won't mind. It's gonna be a time when we cut it short. And don't hesitate, not even a little bit. Straight up.
Yeah, y'all are never beating the hateful allegations. Look at your comment, look at your language. This is disgusting. This is xenophobia. You sound like an ICE agent. Does your family go back to the 13 colonies? Get the fuck out of here. Nobody's scared of y'all. We're laughing at you.
I always knew that Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, would have our own moment with this generation with regard to civil rights and standing up for the history that our people literally died for. They were bombed. They were burned alive in buses on national television during the freedom rides. Things we watched happen to our people. I always knew we would get here. And this time, I believe it is called the Great Delineation. This period in history will be recorded as the Great Delineation, in which Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, will recognize and finally make claim for the reparations we are truly owed for what our people went through. And we are making a delineation between who is owed these reparations, because it's only right. It is only right that a delineation be made between the descendants of the builders of America and those who have benefited from our building.
We have to discuss delineation and why at this moment delineation is biblically what is needed. Okay, I made a video a few back about 𝒲𝒶𝓎 and that Grammys acceptance speech, and then he sent out that other statement on X. And then I didn't know that motherfucker spoke, French when he was like, we blacks, okay, see. And I know what type of Nigerian people he come from, because there's a special group of them. But let me tell you, from all other blacks, the Black American, the foundational Black American, a Black American that is a descendant from the enslaved, this is biblical that we delineate. Okay, a lot of other blacks did not inherit the legal status of property. They did not experience generational caste enforced by U.S. law. They did not lose land through Reconstruction rollback. They did not have their lineage intentionally scrambled to erase claims. And they did not have their labor extracted and then be told they were lazy. Yet they, the other blacks, benefit from Black American civil rights wins, benefit from Black American cultural capital, benefit from proximity to Black American suffering, and then turn around and say, we ain't all the same. When it's time to talk about reparation, lineage, or ownership, that's not solidarity. That's parasitic proximity. The problem when we all blacks coming from them is when they say all black people need to work together, what they usually mean is stop naming your specific injury because it makes things awkward for me. Or worse, your struggle built the ladder I climbed. Don't pull it up for now. That's why the unity talks always gets loud when Black Americans start saying lineage matters, ancestry matters, documentation matters, repair matters. Because once you draw the line, they lose their access. This is when delineation becomes non-negotiable. Black American enslaved descendants are a distinct ethnic group with a close historical injury tied to a specific nation state, owed a material remedy. Other blacks are not attached by that truth. They're being disinvited from centering themselves. And a lot of them motherfuckers can't handle that. Now, we need to admit that a lot of them do look down on Black Americans because, you know, a lot of times they're told not to live by us when they come to this country, right? They mock our accents, our foods, our spirituality, our trauma response. They call us lazy, loud, criminal, broken. But the second you say, then this struggle ain't yours, suddenly it's like, why y'all dividing me? Us, colonial mindset. That's anti-Black. That's anti-entitlement. The truth they don't want spoken. You cannot distance yourself from Black Americans socially, compete with them economically, benefit from their history political, and then demand emotional unity when it's time to pay the bill. Unity without shared risk is fraud. Clearly, Black American enslaved descendants do not need permission, validation, diaspora approval, or Pan-African slogans to delineate themselves. This moment is about sovereignty, naming, repair, and containment of access. Everybody doesn't get to come into the room just because they're melanated. I'm not saying other blacks are inferior because I don't think they are. But what I'm saying is this harm is specific and the work is non-communal. That is historically accurate, politically necessary, and spiritually is clean. Now, let me tell you how this shit is even biblical. God don't even deal with everybody the fucking same. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 8. When the Most High divided the nations, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the numbers of the children of Israel. That's foundational. Nations are separated. We all have boundaries, and he sets different jurisdictions. So there's no one size fits all. So Paul got y'all, right? So that really got. Now, lineage determines responsibility. Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 16. The father shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. Biblically, accountability follows lineage. Punishment and repair are not transferable. Guilt and obligation are not communal across unrelated peoples. So come on, people. And God forbids mixing struggles and inheritance. Deuteronomy chapter 7, 1 through 6. Remember, I done broke that shit down. That's the law that's the rules, because guess what? Black Americans are about to inherit the land. Okay? This is what y'all don't think. This shit is spiritual. Now, when you actually say, when you think about how, like, when they start saying, well, you know, we, I want to let you see how when y'all say, oh, y'all just this, y'all just that, when y'all bearing false witness, and how, like, explicitly in, like, Obadiah, that's all talking about, like, oh, you look like me, you benefit by me, but you look and say, I'm not me. Oh, brother, the inheritance is not for y'all. Exodus says that the strangers are welcome, but you can't inherit the claims. Y'all are welcome, but this is not your inheritance. Because God is going to judge, not only they going to judge the oppressors, they're going to judge the bystanders, right? They're going to judge the ones, the Most High is going to judge the ones that bear false witness. Paul got y'all. So delineation, Black Americans, is so important because I'm telling you, the message is about to be whispered again, and it's a different type of movement, and delineation is important. Don't let no guilt you into thinking. I have love. And then, you know what the fucked up thing is? Not even about hate. It's about preservation. Y'all can't take my inheritance.
You said something earlier in an answer where you said that you talk about native blacks. And so that clearly sounds as if you are delineating native blacks versus someone that comes here from Bermuda or Jamaica or wherever they may they may come from that is black.
That's right.
And the purpose of that is what? Because you're on the surface, it would be like, hey, everybody here that's black gets treated a certain way. Why are you making that delineation?
That is an excellent point. You know why? Because you see, those people coming in from Jamaica or coming in from Africa, they have not been treated like black folk in this country. That's the first thing. And secondly, historically, they haven't had those historical experiences. They come in here voluntarily. When they come in here, they bring some cultural aspects from Africa. They can go back anytime they want. But the black people in this country have been exceptional people. Nobody's been mistreated, maltreated like them. Black folk are exceptional. They're the only people that came here forcefully. One. Two, they're the only people that denied their humanity. Three, they were the only people denied a right to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Four, they were the only people denied the right to participate in government. Five, they were the only people denied the right to vote. Six, they were only people denied the right to have an education. Seven, they were the only people denied the right to have a business. Eight, they were the only people that participated in every war that this country has had since its founding, but whose mother country has never been against this country. All those immigrants come from countries where they fought America, and they came in. And the seven, that they are the oldest and most patriotic people in the country. Not the Confederates in the South. They're not the most patriotic people waving the Confederate flag. The most patriotic people in this country are black people, native blacks, because you see 99% of all those blacks have been direct descendants of slaves. They've been here before 99% of all the other people ever arrived in this country. They are special people. And because they're special people, they need to be recognized, appreciated, and reparated for what they've done in this country and building this country. They're the ones that built the bridges, the roads, cut the timber, the trees, and cleared the land, raised the tobacco, cotton, indigo. They're the people that fought to raise in every war to protect this country. The people coming from Africa or coming from Jamaica didn't. They came here voluntarily. And the most important point on this is if you lump them with black folk, then you give the dominant white society a justification to say we don't owe black folk anything. Mm-hmm. Because you see, the blackness black people's blackness is more than just color. It is their heritage, it's their history, it's their code of conduct, and more importantly, it is their badge of honor, and it symbolizes the indebtedness that this country has to them. This country does not have any indebtedness to people coming from Africa. Mm-hmm. They only have an indebtedness to people coming in from the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. If you lump black folk in there, you deprive black folk of the benefit, the debt that's owed them. Don't do that.
You are spitting fire. Listen.